Before long, she started going out on dates, meeting men who seemed to have everything Noah no longer could offer: careers, independence, and no extra baggage. Slowly, Karen stopped thinking about visiting Noah, telling herself it was time to focus on her own life. Kia, however, noticed the changes in Karen and wasn't happy about it. One day, she confronted Karen in her shop. "Karen, what are you doing? You're engaged to Noah. How can you just abandon him like this?" she asked, her tone a mix of disappointment and anger. Karen avoided her gaze and sighed. "Kia, you don't get it. I'm not ready for that kind of life. Noah's situation is hard, and it's not what I want for my future," she replied. Kia crossed her arms and shook her head. "Noah didn't choose to go blind, Karen. The accident wasn't his fault. He's already lost so much, don't let him lose you too," she pleaded. Karen felt a pang of guilt, but her resolve didn't waver. Her mom's encouragement only made it easier to keep going. Every time Karen shared details about her dates, her mom would smile and say, "That's good, Karen. You're doing the right thing. You're young and beautiful. You deserve the best." Karen clung to those words, letting them drown out the guilt that sometimes crept in. Even though part of her missed Noah, she convinced herself that moving on was the right choice. For now, she chose to ignore the voice in her head that questioned if she was doing the right thing. When Karen felt she had found someone new and was ready to move on, she decided it was time to tell Noah. But instead of doing it herself, she asked Kia to break the news for her. "Kia, please go and tell Noah that it's over between us," Karen said, avoiding her friend's gaze. Kia was stunned. "Are you serious, Karen? You want me to tell him? After everything he's been through, after everything you've done, you want me to deliver the blow?" Karen shifted uncomfortably but nodded. "I can't face him, Kia. It's too hard. Please, just do it for me," she pleaded. But Kia refused. "No, Karen. If you're ending things with him, you owe him the respect of saying it to his face. He doesn't deserve this, not after you left him to struggle alone. At least honor the good times you shared and be honest with him," Kia said firmly, her voice filled with disappointment. Karen's face hardened, and the tension between them grew thick. "You don't understand, Kia. I need to move on. This isn't my life anymore," Karen replied coldly. Kia shook her head, her heart heavy. "No, Karen. I do understand. And it breaks my heart to see the person you've become," she said before walking away. That conversation marked the end of their friendship, a bond shattered by choices Karen would one day struggle to justify. 2 days later, Karen went to Noah's mansion, her heart heavy but her mind made up. Sitting across from him in the living room, she took a deep breath and said, "Noah, I came to tell you that I've found someone else. His name is Paul, and things are going well between us." Noah froze, his hands gripping the armrest of the chair. "Karen, please don't do this," he said, his voice trembling. "Not now, not when everything has already fallen apart. We can figure this out together." But Karen shook her head, avoiding his blank gaze. "I'm sorry, Noah. I can't do this anymore," she whispered before standing up and walking out, leaving Noah sitting in silence, shattered by the finality of her words. After the breakup, Karen moved on quickly and began building her life around Paul. They went on dates, attended events together, and shared plans for the future. Paul was everything Karen thought she wanted: successful, charming, and free of the burdens she had left behind. With her mom's constant support and encouragement, Karen felt she was finally living the life she deserved. She poured herself into her work, designing beautiful clothes that gained even more attention, and seemed happier than ever to those around her. Meanwhile, life was a daily struggle for Noah. He tried his best to care for the boys, but being blind made everything harder. Simple tasks like cooking, cleaning, and even finding the boys' school supplies became exhausting. Money was tight, and Noah felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him more each day. Still, he refused to give up, pushing forward for the sake of the boys who had grown to depend on him. Though life was far from easy, Noah clung to the hope that brighter days might come, even if he couldn't see them. After much thought, Kia decided she couldn't watch Noah and the boys struggle any longer. She packed her bags and showed up at Noah's door one evening, ready to help. At first, Noah hesitated, unsure about accepting such a big offer. "Kia, You don't have to do this. I'll figure things out, he said, his voice filled with uncertainty. But Kia shook her head firmly. Noah, it's okay. You don't have to do this alone. Let me help, she replied with a warm smile. Her determination was clear, and Noah finally agreed, though he still felt a little guilty. The first thing Kia did was sit down with the boys, eager to get to know them better. So, what are your names? She asked gently, crouching to their level. The eldest spoke first. I'm Kenny, he said shyly, while the youngest added, and I'm Johnny. Kia smiled brightly and said, well, Kenny and Johnny, it's nice to meet you. Let's make this house a happy place, okay? From that day, Kia stepped in like a mother figure. She made sure the boys were up and ready for school every morning, packed their lunches, and helped them with their homework. She cooked warm meals, played games with them, and tucked them into bed at night with stories. The boys quickly grew to love her, feeling the kind of care and stability they hadn't had in a long time. Noah couldn't believe how much Kia was doing for them. One evening, after the boys had gone to bed, he sat with her and said, Kia, I don't even know how to thank you. You've given these boys a life they deserve. Kia smiled softly and replied, Noah, this isn't about thanks. They needed someone and so did you. I'm happy to be here. From that moment, Noah's heart filled with gratitude, and the house, once filled with struggle and sadness, began to feel like a home again. Karen and Paul's relationship grew stronger with each passing day. Paul was charming and generous, always bringing thoughtful gifts whenever he visited Karen. Her mom was thrilled about the relationship and encouraged Karen to focus on building a future with him. Paul is exactly the kind of man you deserve, her mom would say, beaming with approval. Karen felt happy and secure, enjoying the attention and care Paul gave her. They spent more time together, planning for the future, and Karen began to feel she had made the right decision by moving on from her past. Meanwhile, back at Noah's house, things were also changing. Kia and Noah had grown closer, and he couldn't help but admire her kindness and selflessness. She cared for Kenny and Johnny as if they were her own, ensuring they were happy, healthy, and well-loved. Her warmth and patience brought life back into the home, and Noah found himself relying on her more each day. Kia also took great care of Noah, helping him navigate his blindness and making sure he never felt alone. For the first time in a long while, Noah felt a sense of peace, and deep down, he realized how much Kia meant to him. As days went by, Noah found himself falling in love with Kia. Her kindness, patience, and the way she cared for Kenny and Johnny warmed his heart. She brought light into his life, giving him hope and confidence he thought he had lost forever. To his surprise, Kia felt the same way. Their bond grew stronger, and they began to dream of a future together. They would sit in the evenings, talking about their plans, imagining a happy life where they could build a family full of love and laughter. For the first time since his accident, Noah felt truly alive again, and it was all because of Kia. Noah and Kia had started planning their traditional wedding, excited about the idea of building a life together officially. They talked about inviting close friends and family and how beautiful the ceremony would be. The boys, Kenny and Johnny, were thrilled, too, often asking Kia about the food and clothes they'd wear for the celebration. Life finally seemed to be falling into place for Noah, and he felt content with how things were turning out. One afternoon, Noah's uncle paid them an unexpected visit. He brought surprising news. A friend of his knew a specialist in India who could perform a surgery that might restore Noah's sight. Noah, his uncle said, this doctor has worked miracles before. The chances are good. You could see again. But Noah's reaction wasn't what they expected. He shook his head and said firmly, I've already accepted my life as it is. I don't need false hope now. I've learned to live without my sight. His tone was calm but filled with pain, showing how much he had struggled to come to terms with his blindness. Kia gently held his hand and said, Noah, I know it's scary, but it's okay to try. What if this works? You deserve to have every chance at getting your sight back. Her words were soft but full of encouragement. She reminded him of how far he had come and how much he had overcome. Slowly, her optimism melted Noah's hesitation, and he finally agreed to give it a chance. Though nervous, he trusted Kia's belief in him and decided to take this new step, hoping it could bring even more light into their lives. Noah was ready to leave for India, filled with a mix of nervousness and hope. Kia and the boys accompanied him to the airport to say goodbye. Kenny and Johnny clung to him tightly, their eyes filled with worry, while Kia reassured them that everything would be fine. She hugged Noah warmly and said, "We'll be here waiting for you no matter what. You've got this." Noah smiled, holding on to her words, and promised to keep in touch. As he walked towards the departure gate, Kia and the boys waved goodbye, their hearts hopeful for his safe journey and successful treatment. Meanwhile, Karen's world took a shocking turn. She had believed Paul was serious about their relationship, but one day he sat her down and told her the truth. "I already have a family," he admitted bluntly. "I can't leave my wife and kids for you. This was just fun." Karen was stunned, unable to believe what she was hearing. Tears streamed down her face as she begged him to reconsider, but Paul stood firm, leaving her without a second thought. Devastated and heartbroken, Karen felt betrayed and foolish for trusting him. To make things worse, Karen's business had fallen apart. Ever since she started dating Paul, she had changed, becoming rude and prideful. Her once loyal customers had left, feeling unappreciated, and eventually, Karen had to close her shop. Now, with no business, no relationship, and no support, Karen found herself alone. She cried endlessly, realizing how much she had lost: her love, her livelihood, and her sense of purpose. Her world was crumbling, and for the first time, she regretted the choices that had led her to this point. 2 months later, Noah returned from India, filled with excitement and gratitude. He had chosen not to tell Kia or the kids the exact date of his arrival because he wanted to surprise them. As soon as his plane landed, he had his driver pick him up, and he made sure to wear his black glasses, keeping up the appearance that he was still blind. His heart raced with anticipation as they drove home, thinking about how he would reveal the big news. When Noah stepped into the house, Kia was startled but quickly ran to him, wrapping her arms around him. "Noah, you're back," she exclaimed, her voice full of relief and joy. Kenny and Johnny followed, shouting excitedly, "Daddy, you're home." Kia gently guided him to sit down, noticing he was still wearing his glasses. Assuming the surgery hadn't worked, she knelt beside him and said softly, "It's okay, Noah. At least you tried. You're still amazing to us, and we love you just the same." Noah smiled, holding back his laughter. "Are you sure it's okay?" he asked playfully. Before Kia could respond, he suddenly took off his glasses and burst out laughing. "Because I can see now," he exclaimed, his eyes bright with life. For a moment, Kia and the boys froze, processing what he had just said. Then, as realization hit, they all screamed with joy. Kia hugged him tightly, tears streaming down her face, while Kenny and Johnny jumped around, shouting, "Daddy can see! Daddy can see!" The house was filled with laughter and celebration as they shared the good news. Noah explained how successful the surgery had been and how grateful he was for Kia's support. "I couldn't have done it without you," he told her, holding her hand. That evening, they decided to visit Noah's parents to share the happy news. During the visit, Noah and Kia set their wedding date, eager to take the next step in their journey together. It was during this visit that Kia discovered Noah's true identity. His parents revealed that Noah was actually a prince and had chosen to live a simple life to find true love and be treated as a normal person. Kia was shocked but also deeply moved by his humility. She realized that Noah's strength and character had nothing to do with his royal background but everything to do with the incredible man he was. The wedding day was nothing short of magical. It was a grand traditional ceremony, filled with color, music, and the love of family and friends. Kia looked stunning, and Noah couldn't take his eyes off her. They exchanged vows, promising to cherish each other and the family they had built. Kenny and Johnny were right there with them, grinning from ear to ear, knowing they were part of something truly special. After the wedding, Noah opened his own construction company, using his expertise to create beautiful designs and provide for his family. Life became even better as they started this new chapter together. With love, laughter, and a strong bond, Noah, Kia, Kenny, and Johnny found happiness they never imagined. Together, they built a future filled with hope and endless possibilities. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about Kia and Noah. Do you think it was okay since Karen was her best friend? Comment down below. Kindly subscribe to help our channel, like and share. Take care of yourselves.